Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm JJ the Bearded Bookworm, and today is just another weekly update video. I keep saying weekly update video, but it seems like every other week is when I'm actually making these. Maybe that's when I'll actually do the updates. I am still really shooting for a weekly update. It feels like extenuating circumstances have prevented me from doing so thus far. Last week I finished Hero of Ages. I put up my Well of Ascension review on Monday. And this coming Monday I'll have my Hero of Ages spoiler-free review, as well as the next week we're going to be doing kind of a character analysis, like spoiler video, where talking about each of the main characters and their growth over the entire series. Then finished that up, started reading The Girl in the Stars by Mark Lawrence, and I really identify with Yaz. She's kind of this girl that's grown up in this harsh climate where her tribe, everybody's just focused on survival. It's the needs of the many over the few, and really you're only doing what's necessary to survive. They don't really have like pleasantries of life. But because it kind of takes place in this like Arctic kind of region where extreme cold, where they call water molten ice. Everything's built around ice. So, you know, the sea, they do call it the sea, but you know, the sea freezes, or the warm sea. It's basically just the warm sea is when the ice has melted enough to where they can, you know, be on boats and fish and things like that. So just that perspective shift from like what I know growing up in a desert. And thus far there were certain things as it's going through, and I don't know if this is indicative of all of his books, but there was a part where you're like, well, should that work? But he puts in the groundwork up to that event, and then afterwards explains why that won't always work. Just from like a narrative or storytelling place, it's not like a matter of convenience. He's laid out the groundwork of like, okay, well, why is this person able to do this? Okay, now in the future, here's why she won't be able to do that. I really appreciated it. And then the worst thing happened. I left my book at work for the weekend. So I put a poll up on Twitter and some of the Discord servers that I am on, kind of asking people what else on my TBR, what should I pick up for the weekend? And Dresden Files won. And I know it's a fantasy book, but a lot of people describe it as not necessarily feeling like fantasy because it's a modern setting and whatnot, but it feels more like this detective noir mystery or whatever. And I'm hooked. Like, I didn't realize how much I enjoyed those types of books. And I'm only like the second chapter right now. But I go back to work on Tuesday. So I'm going to be finishing up that before even going back to work, I'm sure. TV shows, I'm just about at the end of season 3 of The Last Kingdom. I'm going to finish that up, get caught up, and probably go back to Ozark. Avatar: The Last Airbender, as everybody knows, just got put on Netflix, so I'm sure I'll be rewatching that again. I was paying for the Nick Hits subscription to be able to watch it, but my kids really like it. My girls are always acting like waterbenders. That's their favorite. I'm sure I can wheel and deal and get them to watch that again. They got a lot of shows that they tend to watch. They're at that stage where it's, this is my favorite, or I don't like that, because that's how they're describing what they do want to watch and don't want to watch, even if it's something that they do actually like. I got my first book outlet box, got my order, had some real ups and downs in that video. Go ahead and watch that if you haven't already. Alright, calling this Garden Watch 2020. The superstars of the garden have continued. In the last 2 weeks, the garden has just like exploded. It's finally hit that proper like growth stage with heat and whatnot. So our cucumbers are exploding. We're having to, this is the same with the watermelon. we're having to take sticks and kind of stake them down and kind of guide them towards the empty part of the garden versus, growing out of the garden or towards other vegetables. The squash are doing extremely well as well. We're having to every day go through and check the flowers. Squash have male and female flowers, and what you do is take some of the pollen from the male flower and pollinate the female flower to help get strong or large vegetables from it. They tend to be a little small and sickly otherwise. But we have our first vegetable. We are tracking it. It's looking very good. It's a little smaller than it would be if it was at the supermarket at the moment, but we're real excited for that. The bean plants that we planted, they're meh. They're not doing the best. The watermelon, like I said, the watermelon's exploding. Hindsight's always 20/20, but we definitely planted these two close together. There's some extreme steering that we're having to do to keep them from tangling up with each other. But I also don't know where watermelon blossom and start to grow to even check to see where we're at. I know there's nothing starting at the moment, but still don't know what to look for. They're just growing out and starting to overtake this bed. The lettuces, they're kind of 50-50. This set is doing really good. The other set's not. We're kind of guiding the watermelon down towards that. It'll eventually take it over. And then our corn's exploding as well, getting real tall and increasing in thickness as well. Once again, don't know where cobs start to grow on these, but eventually we'll figure it out. But yeah, that's basically the garden in a nutshell right now. Speaking of things exploding in growth, Athena here has tripled in size since we got her, and her ears, see if she's not super comfortable at the moment. See, her ears, she got one ear that sticks up now and the other one's mostly up but kind of droops. It looks real funky, but she is just constantly picking fights now with the other dogs, and the other dogs are being real gentle with her, but you can tell that they're getting quite annoyed with her puppy energy. Let's see, a couple exciting things coming to the channel this next week. Like I said, Hero of Ages reviews coming out on Monday. I'm going to start doing tag videos on Tuesdays. On Wednesday, we're going to be starting a manga/comic book club. We're going to be starting with Vinland Saga, and there'll be a video out on Wednesday kind of talking about that, giving details as well. Thursday, don't know what Thursday's holding, but I'm also going to get that 7 Blades in Black review out this next week. I'd said it was going to be this last week, but didn't get a chance to actually sit down and film. We moved when the new bookshelf, everything, the new setup, it's in a office den area that doesn't have doors, and it's downstairs where my family mostly spends their time with, so I don't necessarily have a ton of time to be sitting down and recording without getting interruptions from kids or the dogs or whatever. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, kind of a pro-con, where got this amazing setup, but now it's mostly public. That's all I got going on this week. What did you do this week? Comment down below, let me know. Love to hear what you guys got going on in your lives. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm JJ the Bearded Bookworm, and I'll see you tomorrow.